Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Douglas Johnson. I'm an ordained minister, meditation teacher, certified Kiloby's inquiry facilitator. I teach yoga, non-dual philosophy, if you will. I've studied Zen, A Course in Miracles, and really this channel is all about spirituality and health and well-being, happiness, joy, peace, lasting peace. So if you're interested in those things, please subscribe below. And if you haven't already, please check out my Patreon page. I post extra content there, as well as links to people who I think are creating valuable content and videos on there. So please check that out if you haven't already. All right. So this is the first in my series that I'm thinking of calling Being Human, the Missing Manual. We'll see what I actually come up with. But these are things that from what I've read and studied and learned from various scientists and biohackers and authors and people who are much more expert in this field than I am. These are things that you should be doing just to be a healthy human. So these are things that in the past we didn't have a choice. They just were part of living a human life. And now because of technology and lifestyle environment, these are now things that are optional for us. And many of us are electing not to do these things, and our health is suffering. So the way I want you to think about this is, if you aren't already doing these things and your health is bad, you're overweight, you're struggling with depression, stress, anxiety, insomnia, various other things, try these things first, because these may go a long way to helping you. Now, one of the things about holistic health, which is what I'm teaching you basically, and these are just recommendations, okay? These are things that I suggest, these are things I've done myself, but again, these come from sources that are much smarter than me. I'm not interested in listing all the references, but these are books that I've read, scientists, doctors, researchers, biohackers, people like that. So these are things that, again, human beings basically did for millions of years. It's just part of being human. But now, because of lack of education, the change of our environment, these are things that many of us are not doing because we don't know that we need to do them. So these are lifestyle. So they may not be the easiest thing to change. You're going to have to find time and energy to do these things. But these are, in my opinion, this is my opinion, these are non-negotiable. If you are not doing these things, you cannot expect to have health and happiness, okay? These are non-negotiable. So these are things that really, it's not that you have to do it every single day and you don't want to stress out about it, but these are things that you really want to see how you can integrate them into your life, okay? So the first one is walking. You're probably thinking immediately, well, I already walk. I walk to the fridge and I walk to my couch and I walk to my car. No, that's not enough. So the baseline is 30 minutes of walking. You want to start there. If you're not walking 30 minutes every day, basically, I'd say maybe 5 times a week, but ideally every day, then you want to start walking 30 minutes every day. Is that going to give you all the benefits of walking? Well, a lot of studies show that 30 minutes is enough to start getting a lot of the benefits. That's the first level for walking, 30 minutes. And I think everybody can manage that. It really doesn't matter where you live, even if you live in a big city, even if you live in a cul-de-sac. Most of us can find a way to get outdoors for 30 minutes for a walk. We can go to a park. 30 minutes of walking is your baseline. The next level that I recommend, and I recommend this over the 30 minutes because dosing is important. So when we're looking to use something to improve health or happiness, again, a little bit may be effective, but more may actually be needed for the full effect to take effect. So again, my recommendation, don't go for level 2 at first. Go for level 1, 30 minutes. If you're not already doing that, see if you can get in 30 minutes every day. Use the pedometer on your phone and track. Okay, 30 minutes is going to be approximately a mile. It might be a little more than a mile. It might be a little less depending on how fast you walk, how far you walk, okay? Somewhere maybe around a mile and a half. It just really depends on you if you're a brisk walker or a slow walker. So 30 minutes, please start there. 5 days a week, let's say, every day that you're working, see if you can get out. If you live in the Atlanta area, you probably commute to work. So on your way to work or home, see if you can go out for 30 minutes. A great time to do it is first thing in the morning, maybe before you go to work. Walk around your neighborhood, or again, on your way to work, stop for 30 minutes. Go to the Starbucks, grab a coffee, and drink it as you walk around a park for 30 minutes, okay? It's very important. It needs to be outdoors. Treadmill does not count. I'm sorry for people who like treadmills. That can be a good way to exercise too, but it's not going to replace the 30 minutes of walking outdoors, okay? Level 2, 3 miles. It's my understanding, and again, these come from sources that I've read, and again, usually more than one source. So this is something I've read several places. Our ancestors walked 3 to 5 miles every day. They were walking to find food. They were walking to find shelter. They were walking to find water. They were walking to find materials to make tools. So it was a part of their life. And again, humans live this way for about 4 million years. It's a long time. Agriculture, about 10,000 years. That's a drop in the bucket when you look at 4 million years. So when we developed agriculture, we began to have health problems that we didn't have when we lived in the natural state. And you could say that industrialization has only made those health problems worse. Okay, so our health in many ways, in many measures, is getting worse, not better. Even if by some measures lifespan is longer, the quality of that life is worse. So please understand that just because we're living longer, it doesn't mean we're healthier. It doesn't mean we're happier. And that's what I talk about, health and happiness, not how to just live a long life. What's the use of a long life that's miserable? Okay? So proper inputs, this is probably something you've heard me say before. We need to give our body the right input for it to function properly. That's going to include food, but it's also going to include movement. So 30 minutes of walking is your basic baseline, but you are not hitting what your ancestors did. Your ancestors did an average of 3 to 5 miles daily. So again, I recommend get your pedometer out. Once you're doing 30 minutes every day, awesome. Now see if you can bump it up. 3 miles is going to take an hour plus. That's how long it takes me anyway. Okay, so I can't quite do 3 miles in an hour. Maybe if I really book it and I rush, but that's not how I like to do it. But maybe you're a brisk walker. So you can do 3 miles in an hour if you don't have a lot of time, if you're in a rush. But you can also, this is an average, right? So maybe during the week you're doing 30 minutes, and then on the weekend you go out 5-6 miles. So remember, the average is 3 to 5 miles. You can test your health to see how do you feel when you get out and hike 3 to 5 miles. Now, some of you are thinking, I live in Georgia and it's hot. There's no way I'm going to hike 3 to 5 miles in this heat. You should be able to. I do it. Okay, and I'm not an exceptional specimen of exceptional health. There isn't anything super special about me. Okay, you hydrate, you go out there, you sweat. Sweating is good for you. So please don't use the heat or the cold as an excuse for not doing this. In fact, heat and cold exposure are types of hermetic stress. They're going to be good for you. I'm not saying don't dress appropriately. I'm not saying don't hydrate. I'm not saying don't rest. I'm not saying don't take care of yourself. But you can measure your health to some degree by how do you do with 3 to 5 miles, okay? And I'll talk about some other things you can do to improve that and make that even more effective. The next measure is 10,000 steps. There was a study done in Japan, and this is kind of a pretty well-known measure, is the 10,000 steps. So that's probably going to be more than 3 miles. For me, 10,000 steps is usually between just under 4 miles and 4.5 miles. Again, it depends on your gait and other things like that, how far you go. So 10,000 steps doesn't equal a certain mileage. It depends on your gait and other factors. But generally, 10,000 steps, unless you're taking really, really small steps, is going to be higher than the 3 mile average. And then from there, sky's the limit. I think if you're hitting the 10,000 steps mark, you're probably good on the walking. And there are other things that you might want to focus on and spend your energy on. But I do want to be very clear, even though I'm a yoga teacher, I think walking is more important, walking outside more important than doing your asana. Again, back in the day when asanas were first taught, people were walking 10,000 steps. It was just a given. It was just going to happen. Walking around the village, getting the food that you needed, going to see your friends. There were no cars. There was no other form of transportation. Even the rich had to walk a lot. So really keep that in mind, that the walking, this is like pre-yoga. That's what I'm talking about here. Being Human, the Missing Manual, this level 1 stuff. This is like pre-yoga. This is stuff that you needed to do just to be okay as a human being. Okay, and the reason I'm talking about it today is, again, if I'm going to teach you deep spirituality, you want to have these things kind of taken care of. You want these basics kind of taken care of. It's going to really, really help, okay? And not having these things taken care of will hinder your progress on the path, okay? So some other things to enhance the walking experience. I've already mentioned outside. So outside in a natural setting, they've done studies where they've shown just seeing trees, seeing the outdoors, grass, leaves, plants, flowers, this has an effect on your brain and your focus. So you can improve or enhance your time if you're walking in a park or outdoors somewhere. If you live in a dense city environment, I know there's only so much you can do, but if you can find even a park, they've shown even with a few trees on the street, just looking at those trees, taking that in has an effect on your brain, a positive effect, okay? So outside, trees, nature, that improves that time, okay? Then uneven ground, so getting off the pavement, this will improve your time as well. Many people, when I teach yoga, have trouble balancing. One of the reasons they're having trouble balancing is they have weak lower legs. The ankle and the lower part of their leg is weak. This is also why people sprain their ankles, okay? Our ancestors didn't have big fat boots with ankle support. Just didn't exist. They weren't going around spraining their ankles all the time. They had strong ankles. So walking on uneven terrain, rocks, branches, these are things I seek out when I walk. I actually try and find terrain that is uneven to walk over. Okay, this is what you want. The more of that you have in your 30-minute or 3-mile or 10,000 steps, the better. And then finally, this is related, minimal or barefoot shoes. So you may actually be in an environment where you can be barefoot. That's great if you can. But if you can't, there's something called minimal footwear. And I've spoken about this before, but it bears repeating. You want a 0-drop heel. So there's no heel. It's just flat across, okay? Number 2, you want a wide toe box. So your toes can spread out. They're not all pushed together. You know, I know how fashionable it is to have all your toes scrunched up, but it's not how we're designed. It's not healthy for us. So wear the scrunchy shoes when you're going out and, you know, being a fashion model on the town, trying to impress your friends. When you're walking, wear your big, fat, you know, barefoot shoes, okay? So wide toe box, 0-drop heel, and then finally flexible sole. So most barefoot shoes, you can kind of roll them up and, you know, kind of curl them almost into a ball. Very, very flexible. They're not hard and rigid like a lot of shoes are. So those are the 3 qualities you want to look for. And again, if you're really new to this, start with your 30 minutes, maybe walking in your normal shoes. And then maybe 1 day a week, 2 days a week, you put on the barefoot shoes and you just start trying them out. Let your ankle and your lower leg and your feet strengthen. That's what you're going to be doing. You're working them out. So if they're very weak, just like going to the gym, you don't want to go to the gym, you've never been working out, and then try and, you know, bench press a lot of weight. You'll hurt yourself. And it's the same with your feet and legs, okay? So if you want to know more about transitioning to barefoot shoes, an author I really like who's a biomechanist. Again, guys, this comes from people way smarter than me. So please keep that in mind, okay? Katie Bowman, check her out. She's got a book, I think, specifically about transitioning to barefoot running and walking shoes, okay? So I wrote down a quick list of just some of the benefits of walking. Again, a lot of these I think start at 30 minutes, but again, dosing is important. So generally speaking, the more I walk, if I get up to 3 miles, if I get up to 10,000 steps, if I get up to 5 miles, I'd say 5 miles is really the gold standard, because then again, you're really kind of averaging 3 to 5 miles. You're averaging what your ancestors would have done, our ancestors. That's just part of being human. Walking 3 to 5 miles, that's what we would have done to survive. So now today we need to be educated and we need to seek that out. We need to go do that. Okay, so what are some of the benefits? Increase cardiovascular fitness, strengthens your bones, reduces excess fat, boosts muscle power and endurance, helps reduce heart disease, type 2 diabetes, osteoporosis, some cancers, chronic disease across the board. It can improve your mood, increase your creativity, improves your cognition and clarity. It can help you live a longer life, healthier life, reduces stress and cortisol, may also boost immunity. So again, some of this research isn't complete. So that's one where there's some evidence that it may boost your immunity. Okay, everybody, so hopefully that is motivation enough. Again, this is all about education. This is, again, what I might call pre-yoga, pre-spirituality. This is the type of thing, if I were writing a scripture, a Bible, a Yoga Sutras. This is something that it would probably go in there. You should be walking every day. As just do it. You find these things in those old scriptures. Again, don't eat this, fast for this amount of time, whatever it is. This is likely where these things came from. People like me who saw what people in their community needed to really be healthy enough to even practice spirituality, to be healthy enough to really commune with the divine. So this is one of them, folks, for us modern people. In a sense, this is me kind of writing my modern version of a spiritual text. This is the baseline of go out and do these things, and then we can talk about oneness. Then we can talk about God. Then we can talk about eternal peace, love, and joy. But if your human animal is suffering, is sick, is not getting the proper inputs, I don't know how much inquiry is going to help you. I don't know how much some yoga practices are going to help you. I don't know how much us talking yoga philosophy is going to be helpful. So again, this is a huge one. That's why I started with this. Walking, start with 30 minutes, try and work up to 3 miles average, and then see if you can get up to an average of 10,000 steps. And again, you can look at your weekly and monthly average. Most phones have a pedometer on there. That's how I recommend monitoring it. It does a pretty good job of telling you how much you're moving and walking. Okay? All right, everyone, I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, please reach out and let me know. And again, if you got something from this, please like, subscribe, commenting. All of that helps spread the word, and with the YouTube algorithm, helps send it out there into the internet so other people can see it. And again, if you're interested in supporting me, my work, and what I do, please check out Patreon. That's an easy way for you to decide what kind of value you're getting from these videos and what I present, and making a contribution. Okay? All right, everyone. Until next time, namaste and have a beautiful day.